You're such a saint, Olivia, my mom gushed, her voice practically dripping with pride. We don't know what we'd do without you. I stayed quiet, my fork hovering over my plate while Olivia, sitting across from me, smiled that picture-perfect, self-satisfied grin she wore so well. She didn't even glance in my direction, like she knew I wouldn't say anything, like I couldn't say anything. My name is Maya Bennett. I'm 27, and I've been an elementary school teacher for as long as I can remember. I've always been the one who picks up the pieces in this family, but no one ever notices. My older sister, Olivia, has always been the golden child, charming, charismatic.
Me?
I'm the dependable one, the quiet fixer who steps in when things fall apart. For years I've been sending money to our parents to help with medical bills, making sacrifices while Olivia soaked up all the credit. But recently I decided I'd had enough, and now the fallout has started. I remember the day I decided to stop sending money like it was yesterday. It wasn't planned, no grand gesture. I was sitting in my tiny apartment staring at the numbers in my bank account after paying rent, and something inside me just snapped. I realized I couldn't keep living like this, barely scraping by while Olivia played the hero. I never told anyone. I just stopped. At first, nothing happened. Weeks passed, and I waited for someone to notice, to say something. Everything stayed quiet, and for a moment I wondered if maybe they'd figured it out, that Olivia wasn't actually footing the bills like they believed. Then the calls started. My mom asking why certain payments were late, my dad mentioning overdue notices they'd received. Olivia, of course, stayed silent, probably hoping no one would put two and two together. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The breaking point came one Sunday afternoon when my mom called, her voice tight with frustration. Maya, your dad's insurance payment is overdue again. Did something happen to Olivia's account? She's been handling everything but things keep slipping through the cracks. My chest tightened as I gripped the phone. It was the first time I'd heard even a hint of doubt in my mom's voice about Olivia. I wanted to scream, "It's not Olivia. It's been me this whole time." But I didn't. Instead, I swallowed the lump in my throat and said, "Maybe you should ask Olivia directly." It felt like a small rebellion, not giving them the answers they wanted, letting the truth simmer. For once I wanted them to figure it out on their own. Still, the guilt gnawed at me every time my parents sounded stressed. I hated feeling responsible, even though deep down I knew I wasn't. As the weeks dragged on, things began to unravel. My mom called more often, each time more anxious. Olivia said she was trying to work it out, but the hospital kept sending notices. Your father can't miss his treatments, Maya. My mom snapped one evening. Meanwhile, Olivia's social media painted a different picture. Rooftop cocktails, unboxings of expensive skincare. She acted like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't the reason our parents were struggling. Then came the family dinner. My mom insisted we all get together to talk things through. I knew what that meant. She'd call on Olivia to explain the situation, and I'd sit there the invisible daughter, nodding along while Olivia spun some story. This time, though, things didn't go as planned. My dad, usually the quiet one, looked Olivia dead in the eye and said, "You've been handling this for months, Olivia. What's going on? Why can't you keep up with the payments?" The color drained from her face. For once I saw a crack in her perfect facade. Olivia stammered something about unexpected expenses and a temporary hiccup, clearly unprepared. My mom's tone snapped. "She's doing her best, Michael. Why don't you lay off her?" "And Maya," she said, turning to me, "maybe it's time you step up and help for once. You don't do anything for us as it is." The words hit me like a slap. I couldn't breathe for a moment, the sheer unfairness making my chest ache. I looked at Olivia, who refused to meet my eyes, and then back at my mom, whose expression was filled with disappointment directed squarely at me. Of course, my dad stayed silent, as always, and I realized they genuinely believed it. They thought Olivia had been carrying this burden, and I was the selfish bystander. My hands shook, but I managed. "That's not true, Mom. I've been helping. I've been the one paying those bills for years." The room fell silent, tension so thick it felt like the walls were closing in. My mom scoffed and shook her head. "Maya, don't be ridiculous. Olivia is the one paying for everything. She's been working so hard to keep us afloat. You've done nothing to help us, and now you're trying to take credit for her sacrifices. My stomach churned. I gripped the edge of the table to steady myself. Olivia sat like a statue, face frozen in an expression that was part shock, part guilt. She wasn't even trying to defend herself. The words spilled out before I could stop them. That's not true, Mom. It's never been true. For 3 years I've been sending money, every month. Olivia hasn't paid a single thing. My voice cracked, but I forced myself to continue. And you know what? I stopped because I was tired of being invisible while she took all the credit. Olivia's head snapped up, her face twisted with disbelief. What is wrong with you, Maya? Why are you making up these lies? She said, voice trembling just enough to sound convincing. This is insane. I've been the one helping Mom and Dad all along. Now you're trying to make me look bad. Are you seriously going to sit there and pretend I'm lying? I shot back. I have bank statements, receipts, 3 years of them. Want me to show everyone right now? Olivia laughed, mocking. What receipts, Maya? You're just bitter because Mom and Dad appreciate what I do. You've been sitting on the sidelines while I keep this family together. Now you want to swoop in and rewrite history. My voice rose. You've been stealing credit for everything I've done. I'm the one who's been sending money month after month while you spend your paychecks on spa days and vacations. Olivia crossed her arms and glared at our mom. See, Mom? This is what I mean. Maya always plays the victim. She's trying to tear me down because she can't stand that I help you. Her words dripped with fake hurt, though I noticed her voice crack slightly at the end. If you were really helping, Maya, why didn't you say anything for 3 years and now suddenly bring it up? She accused. Let me guess. You only did it for credit. My mom folded her arms and nodded, buying it. Olivia's right, Maya. Why would you tell us sooner? It feels strange. Their doubt crushed me. Olivia's smug expression made it worse. I inhaled slowly and met Olivia's eyes. I didn't do it for credit, I said, voice trembling but firm. I did it because I wanted to help Mom and Dad. Maybe I should have spoken up earlier, but that doesn't make it okay for you to take credit for something you didn't do. Olivia rolled her eyes dramatically. Oh, please, Maya. You act like I forced you into silence. If this is true, which I doubt, why wait until now? Because you're bitter. This has nothing to do with helping and everything to do with making me look bad. My dad shook his head slightly, his voice calm but questioning. Maya, I just don't get why you'd keep quiet if it's true. Their doubt was crushing. Olivia's smugness only added fuel. I steadied my voice. I didn't speak up because I was happy to help. I did it for them, not for recognition. But when I realized you were taking credit for my sacrifices, I wanted to see how long you'd keep up the lie. Olivia's face flushed with anger. That's ridiculous, she snapped. You sat there silently for years, and now you want to humiliate me. I waited. I cut in. I wanted to see if you'd have the decency to admit the truth. You didn't. You kept everyone believing your story while I worked myself to the bone. I turned to my parents. Their faces were a mix of doubt and confusion. I didn't want the fight, but I wouldn't let her rewrite history. I have all the receipts, Mom, I said. Every bank statement, every proof of payment for the past 3 years. I could show them in 5 minutes. But that's not the point. What I want is for you to admit what you've been doing. Just be honest for once. Olivia crossed her arms and hardened her face. I don't know what you're talking about, she said coolly, though her voice wavered. I've been handling things. If you have proof, show it. Otherwise, stop making up stories. The audacity of her words made my blood boil, but I stayed calm. Why should I have to prove it? You already know the truth. If you had any integrity, you'd admit it yourself instead of digging a deeper hole. My dad leaned forward, face pale. My mom still looked at me with suspicion, as if she couldn't decide who to believe. Olivia sat jaw clenched, refusing to back down. It was infuriating. I pushed my chair back. The legs scraped loudly against the floor as I stood. My voice shook, but I kept it firm. I'm done, Olivia. If you're so determined to keep lying, I have nothing more to say. I won't waste my energy trying to get you to admit what we both know is true. I locked eyes with her. If there's even a shred of decency left in you, Tell mom and dad the truth. Until then, don't expect me to answer your calls or texts. I'm done with you." She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Oh, don't be so dramatic, Maya. This is ridiculous." Her words stung, but I refused to show it. I grabbed my coat and walked out the door, leaving them all behind. For the first time, I felt like I was choosing myself over their endless expectations. Proving it in the moment would have been easy. Pulling out my phone and showing bank statements would have taken seconds, but that wasn't the point. For me, it was more than being right. I wanted Olivia to own up to what she'd done, to finally take responsibility for lying to all of us for so long. Months passed. The silence between me and my parents grew heavier. Our conversations became surface level, strained and short, like they didn't know how to talk to me anymore, or maybe they just didn't want to. I didn't blame them entirely. I knew I'd shattered the image they'd built around Olivia, and they weren't ready to face it. It still hurt. I didn't speak to Olivia at all, no texts, no calls, no interactions. I avoided every family gathering where she'd be, even skipping Mom's birthday. I couldn't sit in the same room and pretend everything was fine while she kept up the act. It wasn't worth the anger or the exhaustion. My only focus was rebuilding my peace. It didn't take long for cracks to show in Olivia's perfect facade. Word got around that she was struggling financially. Missed car payments, cutting back on flashy outings, posts about tight budgets. It didn't take a genius to figure out why. She'd started making payments herself to keep up the lie. Part of me wanted to feel sorry, but I couldn't. This was the mess she created, and now she had to live with it. I'd sacrificed for years without complaint while she reaped the benefits. Watching her squirm as the weight finally landed on her shoulders was a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. It wasn't how I wanted things to be, but it was exactly what she deserved. One Saturday afternoon, Olivia showed up at my door unannounced. I almost didn't recognize her. Exhausted, hair in a messy bun, her polished demeanor gone. For a moment, I hesitated. Let her in, or send her away. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice quiet, almost pleading. It wasn't the Olivia I knew. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside and motioned to the couch. She collapsed onto it as if the world's weight had finally caught up. I stayed standing, arms crossed. "I'm in trouble, Maya," she began, voice breaking. "I can't keep up with everything anymore. I don't know what to do." I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching her flinch. "That's not my problem, Olivia," I said flatly. "You made this bed. Now lie in it." Her eyes widened in panic. "Please, Maya. I know I messed up, but I cut her off, voice sharper than intended. "Messed up? Olivia, you lied. You lied to Mom and Dad, and let me carry the weight while you played the hero. And now you want me to swoop in and save you?" "No, I'm done," her voice cracked. "Please, Maya. I just need a little help.
Things are really bad right now."
"I don't have anyone else." She wiped at her face. Her hands trembled. I felt a strange mix of anger and pity. "You want help after everything you did?" I repeated coldly. She nodded, eyes red and swollen. "I know I screwed up. I'm trying to make things right." I let out a bitter laugh. "Make things right? You've been lying to my face for years. You want my help? Start by telling Mom and Dad the truth. Until you're willing to do that, I have nothing for you." Her silence was deafening. She looked down, hands twisting in her lap. Then she straightened, voice defensive. "Look, Maya, I've been making the payments. Technically, I'm not lying anymore." My face heated. "Technically," I said, voice rising. "Do you even hear yourself? You're not lying now. You've been lying for years, letting everyone think you were the savior while I was breaking my back. Doing the bare minimum now doesn't make up for that." Her jaw tightened. "I'm doing my best, Maya. I didn't mean for it to get this far." "That's the problem," I snapped. "You never meant for anything, but you were perfectly fine letting me take the fall so you could keep your image intact. You're doing this for yourself, not for them. Don't act like this excuses anything." My hands shook, but I kept my composure. Olivia looked up, voice trembling but determined. "Okay, fine. I'll tell Mom and Dad the truth. I'll admit everything. But I need your help first. Please, just this once. I stared, stunned by the audacity. You're kidding, right? You want me to help you clean up the mess you made, and then you'll tell the truth? She shook her head quickly.
No, I swear.
I'll tell them everything at the family reunion next Saturday. I promise. An idea formed in the back of my mind. I narrowed my eyes. If you actually stand up in front of the entire family and tell them what you've done, I'll give you the money on Sunday. But only if you go through with it. Olivia hesitated, then nodded quickly, relief palpable. I didn't smile. I didn't soften. I just hoped she didn't realize what I was really going to do. The family reunion was in full swing when Olivia stood, tapping her glass to get everyone's attention. I watched, arms crossed, leaning against the wall, not trusting a single word. She cleared her throat, face pale but voice carrying. I have something to say. The room quieted. My mom looked up expectant. My dad furrowed his brow. Olivia gripped her chair like it kept her upright. For the past few years, everyone believed I was the one helping mom and dad with their bills. She began, voice shaking. That wasn't true. It was Maya. The room fell silent. Stunned faces stared. My mom's mouth opened and closed, trying to process what she'd heard. My dad was the first to speak, voice thick with disbelief. Wait, what are you saying, Olivia? She continued, voice cracking. I let you think it was me. I lied. I'm sorry. Her shoulders slumped as if the weight had finally crushed her. My mom's face crumpled and tears welled. Maya, we didn't believe you. We called you a liar. She shook her head. I'm so sorry. How could we not see it? My dad crossed the room to me, guilt on his face. Maya, I don't know what to say. We were wrong. You didn't deserve any of this. Their apologies felt genuine, but all I could do was nod. I'd waited so long to hear those words, but in that moment they didn't feel as satisfying as I thought they would. I hadn't done it for them. I'd done it for myself. My mom reached out to touch my arm, voice trembling. We've been so blind. Please don't shut us out. We want to do better. I gave a small, tired smile and glanced at Olivia, who had not moved, had bowed in silence. I didn't say another word to her. I grabbed my coat and left the reunion, leaving the weight behind. For the first time in years, I felt like I was finally putting myself first. I didn't look back, and I didn't spare Olivia a single glance. Whatever happened between her and my parents after I left wasn't my concern anymore. For once, I wasn't carrying their problems. Sunday afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Olivia. I told them the truth, Maya. Now can you send me the money we talked about? I didn't need to open it to know. I felt a pang. Anger, pity, maybe both. It hadn't taken her long to come knocking. I took a breath and replied calmly, meet me at Mom and Dad's. Let's talk. By the time Olivia arrived, I was already seated with our parents, their expressions somber, disappointment and sadness, making the room heavy. Olivia walked in, eyes flicking between us, her confident facade faltering. What's going on? She asked, voice shaky. I held up my phone and showed her the message she'd sent. I thought it was time Mom and Dad saw this. I said evenly, so they'd know the only reason you finally told the truth yesterday was because you needed money from me. My voice didn't waver. I wanted her to feel the full weight of what she'd done. My mom's face reddened. My dad rubbed his temples as reality sank in. I'm not giving you the money, Olivia, I said, calm but firm. Telling the truth was something you should have done long ago, not because you needed something, but because it was the right thing. I'm not going to reward you for finally doing the bare minimum. I stood, grabbed my bag. Olivia crumpled, dropping to her knees, tears streaming. Please, Maya, she sobbed, clutching my arm. I don't know what else to do. I pulled free and looked down at her one last time. That's not my problem anymore, Olivia, I said coldly. Without another word, I walked out of the house. Her cries echoed behind me as I closed the door. For the first time, I felt no guilt, just relief. The weight I'd carried for years finally lifted. I felt neither anger nor regret, just a quiet sense of freedom. For once, I wasn't the one cleaning up the mess. It was time to focus on my life, leaving Olivia and the past exactly where they belonged, behind me, Maya left Olivia's house with trembling hands but an unshaken heart. The night air was cold, sharp against her skin, yet for the first time in years she felt something deeper than fear. It was freedom. She had carried the weight of Olivia's lies for so long that she had forgotten what it felt like to breathe without chains pressing against her chest. But endings are never simple. Over the following weeks, Maya's decisions spread like wildfire among their circle of friends, neighbors, and extended family. Whispers turned into full conversations. People who had once looked at Maya with suspicion began to look at Olivia with disgust. Slowly, truth overtook deception. Olivia, stripped of her carefully built facade, crumbled. She tried everything, pleas, manipulations, even anger, but no one listened anymore. Her power had always lived in shadows, in the silences of others. Once Maya spoke, that silence shattered forever. For Maya, the journey was not just about exposing Olivia. It was about reclaiming herself. She returned to her small apartment, redecorated the walls with bright colors, and filled her days with things that brought her peace: music, books, and long walks at sunrise. But healing isn't linear. Some nights she still woke up shaking, haunted by memories of Olivia's venom. On those nights, she would sit by her window, sip tea, and remind herself, I survived her. I chose myself. Months later, Maya stood in front of a mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back at her.
Strong.
Resilient.
Whole.
For so long, she had defined herself in the shadow of Olivia's cruelty. Now she was learning to define herself by her own light. Olivia, meanwhile, remained trapped in her own cycle. Without anyone left to manipulate, she became a prisoner of her bitterness. People avoided her, doors closed on her, and even her closest allies drifted away. Power built on lies can never last. The two women never crossed paths again. But Maya didn't need closure from Olivia. She had created her own. In the end, Maya's story was not about revenge. It was about rebirth. She walked away not to destroy Olivia, but to save herself. And in saving herself, she discovered something Olivia never could: that the truest power lies not in control, but in freedom.